in Great Exuma.
Yeah.
So the trip here was not fun. Right.
It was scary. It was very rough, and we will never wish anyone fair winds and following seas again. Because following seas sucks.
Following seas is not a good thing. We had used wind alert, we had used windy, we had used a few other weather things, and weather was supposed to be good. It was not. It was scary. It was a fight for our lives for like 5 hours. Definitely no use of the autopilot.
No real outs.
We had no outs. The tidal currents out of any of the cuts were just too bad for us to even get in if we wanted to. It was not fun. It took, for our little boat, it took, both sails trimmed up very well and running the engine hard just to hold enough speed to just not get broached by a following sea or, a quartering following sea. It was nasty. And it was confused too a lot of the time. So there was a lot of confused seas, a lot of 10-footers.
We've taken lots of beamers and stern waves.
Yeah.
But we weren't out there alone. Apparently people like that kind of stuff. There were 4 catamarans in front of us and I think 3 boats behind us. Sailboats, catamarans, I'm not sure. The whole way.
Yeah, so maybe it's just our inexperience.
Or our light boat.
Or our light boat. Our boat's small and light, and all the boats that we did see out there were either large catamarans or I think one was a monohull, but it was a big boat. But yeah, it was the entrance into here too with all that was scary. Trying to flip around to get the mainsail down was a little bit hairy, and ended up just pulling the jib right as we entered the channel, or it's not really a channel, the jetty, I guess.
Very narrow.
Very narrow. Probably not as small as it looked with the seas that we had, but it looked real tiny. Well, we're at Great Exuma at a marina, Emerald Bay.
Emerald Bay, yes.
Emerald Bay Marina.
Safely.
First freshwater shower in a little while.
Yes.
I like fresh water. I like hot water for a shower. That's something we've missed. Free laundry, so first freshwater automatic laundry in a while. So that's good stuff.
Free trash. We haven't got rid of our trash for 12 days?
Yeah. So we're gonna spend a month here in Great Exuma doing some maintenance to the boat. We're gonna go home. We got some personal things to take care of. But we just decided to pay for a month at the marina here, and it'll give us some recoup time and
figure out what's next.
Yep, and figure out our plan next. The airline industry seems to be turning a little bit, so we'll see what happens if I get recalled to work or not. But
I made pancakes.
you made pancakes. Yeah,
We
you
made
did.
pancakes on that day that really rough.
Before it got really bad.
It
was bad, but it was before it got really bad. But yeah.
Nobody got sick.
No, nobody got sick. I mean, it wasn't that. It was just scary.
We had to hand steer pretty much the whole time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
guess
some previous experience is the only way from another life that, that the feel of it and everything was, it was the only way to get through it. I was so sore and hurting by the end of it. 5 hours of that, it was not
I think
fun.
The hot shower felt good.
Yeah.
But we're here for a month, then we're safe.
Yep. All right, guys, we're going to have a bourbon, call it an evening, and thanks for watching. We're glad you guys are enjoying these videos. We enjoy doing them. Logan does most of the editing. He's even wrote a few songs. If you guys have watched some of those episodes. But cheers and have a good night.
Cheers.
next. Let me get some.
Okay, so it's actually about a month later now, And after doing some research, talking to other sailors and things like that, I think I kind of got a handle on why that day was so horrible. But we part of it was definitely an experience. But I mean, by the end of that sail, we were ready to sell the boat right there in Great Exuma and leave. I mean, it was we were gonna switch to full-time RVing, and that was it. We were done with the boat. But luckily now we've calmed down and thought about it a little bit more. But the forecast was for the winds and waves to pretty much be on our beam. And beam reach, that's actually the best point of sail for a sailboat. And with the sails up and the keel in the water, the beam seas aren't too bad. And it was supposed to be about 2.5 to 3 foot, and slowly diminishing over the course of the day. Also, if you notice, along this chain of islands here, there are a lot of breaks in the islands. So we were planning. I knew it was going to start off rough, but it was supposed to die down. But we were planning on those as being our options to get back out if we had to, and just take a break and hide behind one of the islands. So if we zoom out here on that same area there, you'll see that with the winds and waves coming from the northeast, there's a lot of obstructions in the way island-wise. Now, the Bahamas are not mountainous. They're pretty flat, so the winds pretty much have no problem coming over, but the waves have to work their way around the islands. And I think in the sound here, they get swirling around and everything else, and it causes confused seas when the current's moving and the waves are moving. So what we ended up having is what would be a close reach as a point of sail. So the winds were more out of the east, and the current was directly behind us, and the waves were pretty much quartering our stern. But like I said, they were really confused and coming from everywhere. So not a fun sail. So when the winds and waves agree with each other, you have what's called a rolling swell. And in a rolling swell, the boat just kind of rocks and rolls over top, and it's no big deal. All right? Real comfortable, almost like being in a baby cradle. It almost rocks you to sleep. When you have the winds and the waves or the winds and the currents, sorry, I'm kind of using waves and currents a little bit in conjunction with each other. We have them fighting each other. What happens is the seas start standing up and pointing, and they break at the top, and they're towering, and they're very confused and going everywhere. So that is not a fun ride. It's very sharp up and down, and it's just they're breaking over the stern and things like that when they come from behind. So that's kind of the first part of it. We had taller seas than planned, and we had very sharp seas, very breaking seas, and very confused. So not a happy ride, not a happy boat. The other part of it with following seas, and this is more of a problem in a power boat, maybe, unless you just have enough power to get out of it, but you need water flow over the rudder for the rudder to work. So when you have the current coming from behind you, you lose effectiveness on the rudder, and that's why we had both sails up, and I felt like it wasn't enough power to steer. I needed more flow over the rudder, so we had both sails up, and we had the engine running at 2200 RPM the whole time. So we were doing like 7.5 knots, so we were doing good, but it was a rough ride. Then we had the waves coming from the stern quarter, the big ones. I mean, like I said, they were confused. They were coming from all over, but the big ones were coming from the stern quarter. So what I was doing was I was turning away from the wave to surf it down, all right? And then once we got down the wave, then I had to turn away from the next wave so I didn't bury the bow. And these big standing waves were, pretty much about 2 seconds apart, if that. So it was just constant 90-degree turns away from the wave, then parallel to the wave, away from the wave, then parallel to the wave. So that's pretty much where it got really tiring. The next part is we have to point into the wind to drop the mainsail. So now I have to look at these towering waves and turn around. Now, mind you, once I get the bow into the waves, our particular boat rides really well crashing into the waves. It just, it just rolls right through them and it's no big deal. But it was the turning, staring at these waves, that was a little bit scary. So staring at these towering waves coming at me to turn into it, to drop the sail, what I did was I pretty much I made the turn happen at the peak of the wave, and then by the time we were turned around, we were pointed back into it. It was rough, I'm not gonna lie, but we were at least bow into the waves, and like I said, this boat can handle that pretty well. So we pointed into the wind, dropped the main, and then the task was, with less power, turn back around and take the following sea into the jetty. So here's the entrance into Emerald Bay Marina. It's pretty narrow, but once you're inside the jetty, it's actually pretty well protected. Getting in the jetty, though, with the seas that we had was a little bit scary. There's a lot of shallows on both sides, so you have to plot your course and plan well and stay on that course. But once we were inside, you could imagine the load that fell off my shoulders as soon as we got in there. In hindsight, we probably should have left both sails up and come into the marina, spun around, dropped the sails, but I really didn't know how much space we had inside the marina. So that's why I dropped the main outside. We did run the jib in. For us, the jib, we can roll that up anytime. We don't have to worry about pointing into the wind, but the mainsail won't come down. It gets stuck if we're not pointing right into the wind. So that's why I wanted that one down before we came in. But we definitely would have had more power with both sails up.
Now that we are safe in the marina, it was time to get the boat cleaned. Oh man, was the bottom nasty.
Good day. How you doing?
So you're from Salty Living, right?
Yes, sir. Salty Living Cleaners.
Okay.
My name is Captain CJ. This is one of my best workers, Daniel.
Salty Living Cleaner Shark Boy, yo.
We call him Shark Boy. He's one of our water cleaners. He cleans the bottom and everything. Change props, do it all.
Okay.
Everything's Salty
Cool.
Living.
Salty Living at Great Exuma.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna have them do my water line here, and we'll get back with you. I'll give you some after photos. All right, here we go. Salt Living. Salt Living. They did such a great job. I'm gonna have them do the whole boat tomorrow. So I'll let you guys know how that goes. But man, is that beautiful. Let me go to the other side. Got the hull nice and waxed. You can see the glistening of the water off of it. It's like a mirror. They're still finishing up right now, but so far so good. There she is, all waxed up. Ready for the rodeo again. Well, as you can see, we're really happy with how the boat turned out. Captain CJ really takes pride in his work. They did a really good job washing, waxing. They did the bottom job. They polished up all the stanchions, all the metal fittings and turnbuckles. Everything looks great. If you're ever in Great Exuma Island, make sure you look them up. Salty Living Cleaners. Their prices are fair. They take good pride in their work. The front desk at Emerald Bay Marina knows who they are. Or I'm going to leave all their contact info in the description below. So check them out. Give them a shout out if you're ever in Great Exuma.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Join us next week as we explore the Great Exuma Islands and maybe fly home. Until then, fair winds and calm seas.